This is the ceremonial village of Orongo. On that side, we have the crater of an extinct volcano. And over here on this side, a 1,000-foot cliff dropping down to shark-infested waters. It was here in this unusual location where the people of Rapa Nui may have created a solution to their problems. Hi,
I'm hoping archaeologist Sergio Rapu can tell me more about it.
How are you?
This is a great spot.
Oh, yes.
I've heard that this place, this village Orongo, is where something special was created.
Well, this is a place of the Birdman cult. The Birdman cult was a solution to the redistributions of resources. And the leaders, the warriors, would gather here once a year to compete to have a political and economic control of the island.
Every year, the nesting of the sooty tern, a migratory seabird, signaled the inauguration of a new Birdman ceremony. Clan chiefs and their warriors gathered at Orongo for a contest to decide which clan would rule the island for the next year. Before the Birdman cult, there had never been a unified authority on the island. Each clan worshipped its own ancestors and looked after its own territory. When the clans went to war, there was nothing and no one to stop them. Sergio and other archaeologists believe the Birdman cult was developed at the height of the conflicts as a way to try and control them. This almost suicidal contest was witnessed by the early Europeans.
So they would start here at Orongo.
That's right.
And they'd go down this cliff.
Exactly.
The contest started when the clan chiefs sent their best warriors racing down the 1,000-foot cliff below Orongo. For weeks, the men would prepare for their ordeal. They'd carry reed floaters to help them with the grueling, mile-long swim to the more distant of two offshore islands, or motus.
Oh my God. Look at that. Sergio, they'd go down this cliff?
Exactly.
And then swim out to that island.
Balanced precariously on their floaters, the swimmers had to battle ocean swells and powerful currents. Exhausted, they would finally climb onto the motu, where the sooty tern nested. For the people of Rapa Nui, the sooty tern was a magical bird. In reality, it migrates thousands of miles across the ocean every year. But the islanders knew only that it arrived from beyond the horizon. They believed it came straight from heaven. They thought it was sent by the gods. Its egg was a symbol of cosmic fertility and power. Once contestants found an egg, they had to race all the way back to Orongo with it.
And then they swim back.
Swim back with the egg.
And they climb back up this.
They climb up here.
Wow, that's a contest.
The clan chief of the first warrior to return with an egg would then have authority over the island and its resources for the year. He became the Birdman, until the sooty terns nested once again and the contest started over.
So through this contest, that king and then that clan would be the rulers for the next year.
That's right. It's a way of validating a new power, a new way of resolving the conflict for people who are going hungry and having no way to escape from the island.
If Sergio is right, the people of Rapa Nui invented this amazing ritual as a way to limit their conflicts and conserve their island's resources. Coming up, I follow in the footsteps of the Birdman contestants and find out if they really help solve Rapa Nui's problems.
If you see any sharks, let me know.
my investigations on Easter Island are coming to a head. I've learned that the islanders created an ecological catastrophe, which led to years of chaos and violence. By the 15th century, Rapa Nui society was staring into the abyss. Its response was the amazing Birdman cult, an annual contest to establish a supreme leader over the island's warring factions. Contestants raced down a 1,000-foot cliff and swam through shark-infested waters to an island a mile off the coast. The clan of the first man back then had control over the island for the next year. It is this amazing ceremony which I'm going to investigate now. Above all, I want to find out if the Birdman cult really could have remedied the island's desperate predicament.
What Sergio said about the Birdman cult was fascinating. So I've come here to the port of Hangaroa, a small town on Easter Island. My goal is to take a boat and go to the base of the cliff and see what challenges these contestants actually faced.
From Hangaroa to the cliffs of Orongo is only about a mile, but it's an exhilarating boat ride.
One thing that I wish you could experience is the quality of the air and the water here. It has got to be the cleanest air on the planet. We're so far from other lands which could pollute it that just breathing here, this is what it must have been like 500 years ago when the people were making the Moai. This place is so unpolluted. The water is cobalt blue. And I've never seen water that clear. It's astounding.
Down here on the water, everything looks a little different.
You know, from up there, it didn't look like it was that far away. But it's a pretty good distance. I guess that's about a mile from the shoreline to the Motu. And another thing that I didn't realize is these waves. There's these huge swells coming in, and they're only going to build as the morning goes on into midday. So this contest is starting to look like a much more physical feat than I was prepared for. Should be fun.
Finally, we arrive at a point between the base of the cliff and the Motu of the sooty turn.
Sergio and I were up there on those rocks, and I'll tell you, from down here, it doesn't look any better. This is an insane attempt. Today, it's not allowed. It's a park. You can't even approach the cliff. It's illegal to try and come down it. So if I wanted to do this contest, that part I can't. But the swimming part, I can.
With every passing minute, the accomplishment of those Birdman competitors strikes me as even more amazing. Their physical stamina must have been astonishing. And now it's my turn.
Figure out how to use this thing. Let's try.
In the water, the first thing I discover is just how difficult it is to balance on the reed floater. I was counting on this thing really helping me, but just staying on top of it is hard enough.
It's gonna take me a while to figure this one out.
And I've got a long way to go.
Do I look like a seal waiting for a shark to come eat me? That'd be my only concern.
The immediate challenge is the strong current, always pushing me back towards the cliff.
Keep thinking, oh, almost there, almost there. And you look back and you go, no, I'm not.
I've now been in the water for about an hour. Because of the current, I've hardly made any progress, and I'm getting seriously tired.
I think I may have to face the reality that I'm not gonna get there. I'll give it my best shot.
Those contestants must have been in great physical condition, and I'm guessing they would have held the contest on days with weaker currents. I'm getting nowhere. I wonder how many hours it would have taken the swimmers to cross the strait to the Motu. I also wonder if they all made it. However fit they were, I know now what a dangerous undertaking it was.
Bruised and battered from the climb down the cliff, soaking wet and exhausted from the swim, the contestants would arrive here at the Motu, the halfway point in their journey. But before they can make the trip back, they'd have to search this island for an egg. there are birds all over this island. Look, there's frigate birds hovering over us in the sky. There's this little one right here. Come over, look at this guy. This is not the sooty tern. This is not the bird that they were looking for. What they would have to do once they reached the motu was find the right egg, put it safely into probably their headdress, and then make the swim back to the mainland.
After another few hours in the water, the warriors who survived would run up the last stretch of cliff to the clan chiefs waiting for them. I guess they were motivated by the knowledge that so much hung on their performance. Supreme power for their clan over the whole island for a year. But I still have a lot of questions about the Birdman cult. I've discovered what an astonishing feat it was physically, but did it really unify the island and preserve its resources? I asked Rapa Nui native and archaeologist Sergio Rapu.
From a pure survival perspective, the Birdman cult succeeds and keeps the Rapa Nui people alive until the Europeans arrive. Is that correct?
Yeah, that was the end of the prehistory of Rapa Nui, and the Rapa Nui were surviving, perhaps much more impoverished than the first time they arrived to this island, and they were abandoning totally the cult of the ancestor, but they were alive.
Sergio tells me the Birdman cult became everything, and they abandoned their ancestor cult. The first Europeans to arrive here in 1722 found a demoralized and starving people living among the fallen statues. It sounds to me like the Birdman cult was too little, too late. The people of Rapa Nui were helpless to stop the processes they'd set in motion centuries before.
I think that perhaps the lesson of Rapa Nui is one that the world today should be paying attention to. The people who settled this island were hyper aware of their environment. They could detect the slightest change in the wind, the currents of the sea, the flight paths of the birds, and yet they completely missed the destructive path that they were set upon.
It's hard not to see the fate of Easter Island as a haunting parable. Still, after centuries of disastrous settlement, the islanders are beginning to thrive once again. People like Sergio are taking hold of their heritage.
Lento.
The ancestors seem to be coming back to life.
Good morning, Joshua. How are you?
Great, look at these.
Yeah.
They look completely different.
You can see the ancestor alive here.
Sergio has discovered their original coral eyes.
That's right.
Now I know that you're a modest man, but you're the one who actually discovered the eyes, correct?
We discovered the meaning of the eyes.
Sergio is being modest. Everybody used to believe the Moai had empty eye sockets, symbolizing death. In 1978, Sergio's team found hundreds of small coral fragments beneath the Moai. He couldn't figure out their significance until he started to fit them together.
That must have been an exciting discovery when you had all these coral pieces and you didn't know what they were for, and then all of a sudden, their eyes, right?
It is wonderful because you give a total different appearance to the monument, and that's what they used to look like. And it's also bring a very powerful meaning to us. Our elders will always refer to the Moai as the living face of the ancestor.
So by putting the eyes
in
the face, you're actually giving sight to your ancestors.
Yes, 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 yes.
The Moai with eyes, just as the ancients would have seen them, have never been filmed before. To see them staring out over their island, guarding it once again, seems like the perfect end to my exploration of the astonishing saga of Rapa Nui.